Imagine paying over $400,000 just in interest on a 2015 Lamborghini Aventador.
Most of today's clips are about car regret, but we're starting with something worse. Over $400,000 in interest on a Lamborghini.
25% interest. Subprime Lambo deal. That is diabolical. That's for an 84-month term. If they stuck it out, they didn't refinance. After putting down $83,000, they're going to be paying a total of $771,000 for a 2015 Lamborghini Aventador.
Why does somebody who only qualifies for 24% financing need a Lamborghini? Over a few years, you're basically buying the car twice. Once for yourself, once for the lender.
Now, to be fair, after Meekum's auto auction, there have been some crazy record sales for Ferraris, Lambos, and a bunch of other high-end exotic vehicles. But that still does not qualify or quantify somebody paying almost $500,000 in interest on a Lamborghini Aventador. To all you core sellers, anybody that is going to try to qualify themselves with a 25% interest rate on a Lamborghini Aventador to pay almost more than $400,000, it's not worth it, I promise you.
A lot of people see these cars as a symbol of success, but at 24% interest, it's just a very expensive reminder that the bank sees you as a risk. That's not success. The better move would be fixing the credit and lowering the debt.
But the cool thing is, if you're late on your payment, after 10 days, they only charge $5, and after 14, it's going to be $25 added to your payment. So, not a bad deal, right? I pray to God you refinance immediately, or if you are still thinking about it, don't do it, because it's not worth it, I promise you. $771,000 for a 2015 Lamborghini Aventador is absolutely diabolical. Unless it's made of gold or something, this is what people pay in interest on a mortgage in 15 years of ownership. And you're going to pay that on interest on a vehicle that probably is going to need a clutch every 5,000 miles.
Just because you get approved doesn't mean you can afford it. Approval just means a bank thinks they can make money off you. When you're financing something at 24%, you're gambling with your future income.
Oh, driving a Ferrari sucks. It's like the worst thing about owning a Ferrari is owning a Ferrari. But I wanted to do it. I really I needed something for the channel. And I was like, you know, one of my jokes I had when I left Hoonigan was like, I just want to have fun with my friends and buy a Ferrari. And I did it.
Both now.
And I felt really embarrassed to tell people I bought a Ferrari because I was like, is this so my car's a piece of shit. And it was when I bought it, but the name is so it's just the name has so much arrogance to it.
I don't think you should feel embarrassed to drive one, but I would not want to drive an exotic car like that for long. I do think they would be fun to drive, but it's the attention I wouldn't want. I would much rather blend into the background and not be seen.
That I was
it's a status symbol.
Yeah. So I was that.
It's like when you carry that key around.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's a great answer. I mean, we bought the Ferrari that's sitting behind you, and of course it doesn't belong to any of us. It's a company asset. But I've never honestly driven in public because of that.
Yeah, you feel like a douche most times. Yeah. I mean, it's really fun to drive, but you feel like a douche.
And the car that you bought is it's part of the driver's era, in my opinion.
Yeah,
of Ferraris.
I have one mission with the 360: get people to stop buying air-cooled Porsches.
When you drive something like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, you're not blending in. You're separating yourself. They're loud, they're flashy, they're designed to be seen. These cars are built to attract attention. And not everyone is comfortable being the center of it.
I bought an awesome car, but now I'm completely over it. This is it right here. It's a brand new BMW M3 competition, and I spent a pretty penny on this thing, and for the first few months, I was absolutely in love. Don't get me wrong. It's really fun to drive. It's very exciting. Tons of people make comments on it, and that's never happened to me before. But after about, let's say, 6 months, all of the excitement kind of just faded away, and now it's just become normal to me.
The first week, you'll be looking back in the driveway. By month 6, it's just a car. I've came across that quite a few times. That it's around 6 months when the excitement of a new car wears off. Then the regret starts to set in.
And you see, I've seen this same thing happen to me so many times in my life before. I get this idea of something that I think is really cool. It's going to make me really happy. I spend all this time and focus going after it. And then when I get it, it's not anything what I thought it was going to be. And then eventually down the road, it just becomes my new normal. And if anything, it just raises the bar for what is needed to make me happy. After coming into this situation for the 10th time, I learned the lesson that no thing outside of me is ever really going to make me happy. The other thing I realized is that cars like this, they're really not as hard to get as I thought they were. Now, this was a huge psychological barrier for me to overcome, just buying this car in general, because it was over $100,000.
He said when he finally gets things, they're not what he expected. They don't make him happy. And I've done the same thing, just on a much smaller scale, especially back when I had debt. The best part wasn't owning it, it was buying it. Clicking purchase, tracking the shipment, waiting for it to arrive. That was the rush. Once it showed up, half the time it just sat there.
Because I don't come from money. I was broke 10 years ago, and I drove my Volkswagen that I bought out of college for 10 years, or like 11 years before I even pulled the trigger on this. I used to look at really expensive cars as really hard to attain and just like a huge accomplishment. But now that I actually own one and it's become normal to me, and the monthly payment and insurance really isn't that big of a deal, it's really just showing me how attainable a lot of things are that I thought were so hard to get.
You buy things thinking it's going to change how you feel, and it doesn't. It becomes normal. Whether it's a $2,000 impulse buy or a $300,000 car. Your brain adjusts and you get used to it.
I remember in the past, one of the worst decisions I made was to go and buy this really expensive sports car, right? And I thought that at the time, if I go and buy this expensive sports car, it's going to make me feel better. It's going to make me feel as a man of higher stature, of higher value. When in reality, I just bought something that I couldn't really afford, right? I mean, I remember I was filling out the application form and I was putting in how much I make, and the guy was like, he changed the amount. He changed one of the numbers to, make it go up by like 10K, right? And that just goes to show, right? I couldn't afford that car. That was like God in that moment saying, hey, dude, you cannot afford this car.
If the salesman is inflating someone's income on a loan application, that really should be enough to walk away. If the real numbers don't qualify, then the deal doesn't qualify. You can fake it on paper, but the payment is still based on the real numbers.
And I tried to battle it out and keep the car and use the car as motivation for, I need to make more money. I need to take that extra step in my life. But really that car was taken away from my ammunition, right? My money is like ammunition, right? To go and fire it at other things, other things that can make me even more money. And so I was putting not all my money, but I was putting a majority of my money into this depreciating asset. And then I was just stuck in a negative feedback loop of, hey, this is such a L, this is such a bad move, right? I genuinely feel like nobody cares what car you drive. Nobody really cares about what car you drive.
It's actually a really great feeling when you realize nobody cares what you're driving. You think people are watching, judging, keeping score. They're not. They're worried about their own lives.
I bought an expensive car yesterday and now I'm regretting it. I'm 22 years old and a big car guy. Yesterday, me and my mother were picking up her car from service when I saw a 2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT on the lot with 62K miles and a lemon title for $43,000. I drove the car and fell in love with its V8 rumble and its SUV comfort all in one car. I put $3K down and financed the rest for 72 months. I'm having a bit of buyer's remorse and thinking I made a big mistake. Can I reverse the deal? Please help.
You want to know why you have buyer's remorse? It's because you spent $40,000 on a whim over this dumb obsession over cars.
And also you said you were there to pick up your mother's car and all of a sudden you just fell into a $43,000 loan. You have to make better decisions around your purchases. That was 100% an impulse purchase.
I couldn't even imagine impulse buying a $40,000 vehicle. That's not a small mistake. That's not all return it tomorrow. That's paperwork, that's insurance, that's taxes. It's years of ownership. You don't just wake up one day, feel bored, and accidentally spend 40 grand. At least you shouldn't.
Reasons why I hate my Porsche Cayenne as a mom car. Y'all are liars! I'm convinced if you think a Porsche Cayenne is a perfect mom car, you don't have children. Number one, this is marketed as a luxury car. What is luxury about this car to begin with? Remote control start? Non-existent. Skip button on the steering wheel? Nah. How about this mirror reflective console? Yeah, every time I'm driving, I'm getting blinded. I'm about to swerve into the next lane, crash into the person next to me. Oh, you want to skip a song? You've got to be okay with living on the edge because you have to look down at this massive screen and try to figure out where the freaking button is on this touchscreen. Can't do that either because you're getting blinded by that doohickey the entire time. I'm driving like this. Every time you get out of the car, the seat's actually going to reset. So when you go to get your son out of the car seat in the back, the chair is actually going to push back on his car seat and you're literally not going to be able to get him out until you get back in the front seat, move the seat forward, leave the car on, then get your son out of the back, and then turn off your car and shut the doors.
You would think these are things you look at before you sign, but sometimes the excitement takes over. You love the badge, you love how it looks, you love the idea of it, and everything else gets pushed aside.
Live in Utah and it's roasting in the summer, freezing in the winter, no remote control start. You gotta tow your son out there in the sweltering heat or the frigid cold and wait for the car to warm up to be able to cool down or heat up. Oh, you want a sunroof to be able to open? It only works half the time. Most of the time it only works as a moonroof. So you want to control all of the temperature and all of the air in the entire car. Because it's a luxury car, you can actually control the temperature and the airflow and everything from each individual seat. Sounds awesome, right? In theory? Yeah, not when you have kids in the back. They have all their own sensors back there, and they just habitually not tweak those suckers, and your car is fluctuating between freezing and sweltering hot. You just got in the car and it's literally below freezing, so all you want to do is crank the car on and crank the heat, have air come out of every single vent. Not gonna happen. You put it on sync thinking that's gonna do it? No. The car's gonna sound really loud, but not a single airflow is gonna come out of any of the vents.
It's not really about the car, it's about the rush, the status, the idea of how it's going to feel. And then 6 months later, it's just a car. Some people can afford the lesson, some can't. But either way, the excitement fades a lot faster than people think. If you want to see more, you know what to do. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.